Welcome to another exciting episode of the 60-second Lightroom edit. I thought I'd do something a little bit different today and work on a landscape as an abstract rather than a traditional landscape. So here is a picture of sand dunes taken in the Western Sahara. During our photography tour to Morocco last year, we stopped on the drive to our Sahara Desert camp and took photographs of the dunes in the late afternoon light, just as we're getting that kind of directional light, and you have a lovely balance of light and shadow shaping through the dunes. So I thought it was just quite a nice way of being able to render a landscape as an abstract image. So that's going to inform today's edit. I thought I'd try something a little bit different today as well in terms of speaking about my thoughts and ideas about the image before jumping into the editing itself. I think quite often before we edit an image, we need to almost pre-visualize what we would like the finished product to look at. And what I often do is I'll bring up an image in Lightroom and then I'll just look at it for a while. Kind of absorb the detail that occurs in the image. Because the image was taken quite a while ago, I've forgotten a lot about what drew me to the scene, so I'm kind of re-familiarizing myself with the elements in the image, looking to see what parts of it pop up to me. In other words, what parts I would like to enhance and what parts seem to distract my eye, so what parts I want to basically remove or de-enhance, so to speak, in the image itself. You'll notice also in this image that the color is a little bit flat. In the Sahara, unless you're kind of photographing in the absolute golden hour, the color tends to be a little bit washed out because it's basically full sun. So the sky doesn't look as blue, and the dunes have a kind of, I suppose, a browny pinky hue to them rather than the kind of golden glow that we're more used to seeing in images of the Saharan dunes that we come across. So I'll probably be working on the color element of this image as well. So for me, there are a couple of elements here that draw my eye. The tufts of grass along this part of the dunes here, the trail of footprints and what appears to be a vehicle coming through, the ripples in the sand, and then the lovely interplay of light and shadow moving up the dunes. I find that the eye is being led by this curve of the dunes out of the picture, so I'm going to try and reduce the impact of this section of it, probably by cropping it out, just to push the eye a little bit more towards this kind of dunes that look like waves, kind of receding into the distance. So with that in mind, let's see what can be achieved within 60 seconds. So the time starts now. And that's it. That's the 60 seconds for the edit itself. So hopefully you were able to roughly follow what I was doing. I'll just speak a little bit about what I've done in terms of the editing of this image, just to show you the before, so you can see how it's quite flat. And just by it's basically increasing the contrast, I've made the image pop up a lot more strongly. So when you look at what I've done globally in the image on the basic tab, you'll see I've basically just added more contrast and I brought the whites up quite strongly. When you adjust the contrast in the whites, you're not just only adjusting, say, the tone of the pixels in the image, in other words, the brightness and the darkness of the pixels in the image. You're also adjusting the colors in the image itself. So by upping the contrast and upping the whites, I was basically making the colors in the sand, the kind of predominant yellows and oranges in the sand, pop up a little bit more. Then I basically added a bit of texture because I wanted to bring out the texture in the dunes very quickly, and then use the tone curve to basically just lift up the highlights, the brightness in the dunes a little bit more, and then use the color panel, particularly the luminance sub panel in the color panel, to basically kind of brighten the sky up by raising the aqua and blue channels, and then brighten some of the dunes up as well by bringing up the reds and the oranges. So, you know, a quick before and after will show you that you can basically make an image pop within the span of a minute. If I had more time, I'd probably be using some local adjustment tools, but just to guide the eye into the frame a little bit more. The eye can basically enter the frame from the foreground via the footprints, for instance, through the ripples, and then just zigzag its way out of the frame. You also notice I've cropped out that section just to basically keep our attention fixed on what's actually happening in this area in the frame itself. So it's really important before you even begin the editing process to, in a way, kind of get back into rediscovering the image as if for the first time, and kind of interrogating it. Look at where your eye as a viewer goes, where your gaze goes, and where you don't want the viewer's gaze to go, and you can either crop that out or unenhance or de-enhance it. If I had a bit more time in this image, and I'll post the final image when I've done a bit more tweaking onto it, onto the blog post. If I had a bit more time with this image, I'd probably make the sky a lot brighter, just basically to make it almost pure white, just so that the dunes stand up very strongly against it. I'll work on this a little bit more, and then you can see the final image in the blog post. All right, that's it. Thanks very much for following today's 60-second Lightroom edit, and we'll see you in the next one. Ciao.